Thank you for hitting the download button on the Radio Random Network. Thanks for kicking off your weekend with me. Hashtag RDM. Today I've got my good friend from Hamilton, Ontario, international artist, author, and entrepreneur, and all-around good person, Miss Patricia Gagic. She's the author of Karmic Alibi. We talk about her life experiences and other great things she's involved in, including music. All of that is coming up very timely. But first, I want to thank the great sponsors of the Radio Random Network, Amazon.com, Audible Trial, and Craig Doswalt's Rockstar System for Success. All the links shared on today's show can be found at rrnonline.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/RRN online. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, and MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/RRN live.
He is a musician, entrepreneur, and podcaster, entertaining the masses on a worldwide platform. The Radio Random Network proudly presents Russell Devin McLean, hashtag RDM.
Russell, thank you so much for having me on the show, and it's really wonderful to, have written a book, have it accepted, and I just recently had submitted the book to the 2014 USA Book News Awards, and I received an honorary finalist award. So I'm really excited. So that's something, we never kind of expect. And regarding Craig Doswalt, a phenomenal marketing guru, he does have his Rockstar Marketing for Success boot camp, and I've been involved with that for approximately 3 years now, and part of his mastermind program. And it was really meeting the people there and the inspiration I received from just being in a room with people like James Malinchuk and Les Brown and just people who really have a voice and want to say something and make it profound so that it has a legacy. And that was really the inspiration to get this book off the ground, even though it's not the first book I wanted to do.
Now, what inspired you to be an author? I mean, was this something that was writing something that you always wanted to do as growing up, or was it something that just kind of evolved?
I think that I was very left side, right side brain all my life, really. I developed a great interest in mathematics and an interest in physics and being in business, so I wore several hats. But I've been an artist and really have tried to have a very prolific, creative experience in my lifetime. So when I've always been writing, I like to write poetry and short stories, but never ever anything that I thought would develop into a concrete book published. And Karmic Alibi came about when I chose to do a memoir, a partial memoir, and then also created Mastering the 5 Radical Degrees of Life, which are risk, root, remedy, realization, and reality. So the inspiration to write has always been there for me. And again, it's something that until you sit down and you say to yourself, I'm going to commit myself to doing this, and then when you start, you just have to go, oh my gosh, why did I ever do this? But I'm really, really happy I did.
For the listeners out there, you are an artist, an author, an entrepreneur, and you're also a humanitarian. And not only that, you have, music's very close to my heart, but you also have a hand in music as well, which we'll get to that a little bit later. But as far as the entrepreneurial mindset, where did that come from?
My father was an inspiration of all kinds of things. And for me, he'd always said, just try your very best to do what you can. And then I think I just had the guts to sort of get really into things. And I always wanted to do something. If it was, the lowest man job on the totem pole, I'd be happy to take it. And then I would see how really working hard and paying your dues and doing the due diligence could lead you to, a better job. And so that's what I did. And after having, years and years of experience in banking, and I, looked at what were my potentials for the rest of my life, and art doesn't pay the bills always. And so I developed a few other projects, and I had a retirement home, and I got into property management and managed medical facilities, and I thought to and apartment buildings and condos. And then after that, I said, I'm really going to, do something a little different. And that's when I harnessed getting myself back into to the writing mode.
Now, where does it come in as far as the music? Now, how does that or where does that come in your life?
Well, my daughter's very musical, and she probably could have had a nice career, but the families are part of what she wanted in her world. But she is married to a musician. And then I had the great opportunity to be involved with different people in the music industry. And here in Canada, we were fortunate when years ago Canadian Idol was here, and it was the spin-off of the American Idol program. And one of the people who was a contestant and actually made it to the top 10 was from our community. His name was Brian Mello. So he actually ended up winning the Canadian Idol contest, and the mayor of our city and a lot of us got together, and we really began to support him through his first year of his journey, and then we became really good friends. And after he went down to Nashville and he did some writing and came back, he, had his CD and did some fantastic work. He had the opportunity to sing the American anthem for Sylvester Stallone, and who was also a keynote speaker at an event here in Hamilton. And he invited a violinist and this other two people who were a group, Andrew and Victoria. And when they got on the stage and performed, they realized they had absolute chemistry. And shortly thereafter, they formed Apollo's Crown, the band. And this is now where they are just getting themselves launched and have some pretty amazing music. I think that after, you live a life where you're being confronted with all kinds of different things. I mean, family situations, personal life, employment, job, everybody's got something that, they've had to deal with in their life. And I really feel as if I really had more than my fair share. Some very, very big experiences at a very young age, and also some hardships, and these hardships were very emotional for me. And one of my really difficult times happened in my early 20s, and I'll just share with you a little bit because I write about this in the book. And my tagline in my book is gaining expedient wisdom by leaving your excuses behind. And I really want to say, I think we gain expedient wisdom by rehumanizing our attitude. And it's how you see things. And, people really do go through life feeling sorry for themselves because they've had one particular thing happen to them. And then they say, well, it becomes the anchor for all of their emotional trials and tribulations, and they can't get past it. Well, I had no choice in my life to get past each one of these in order for me to continue on. And it's a phenomenal exercise when you sit down after many years and you pick one or two, and then you start thinking, well, there was this one as well. So in my instance, as I mentioned, in my early 20s, I was working out west. I was working for the bank, and then, on weekends we would just, hang out. And I lived in the most beautiful little place. And people would come by, not in cars on Saturday morning, but they would come by on riding a horse. So they stop in front of your house and have a chit-chat. You offer them a coffee. Well, this particular Saturday morning, I got up and I looked out the window and I saw our friend standing there with his horse, and I said, do you think I could take a ride on it? And he said, do you know how to ride? Basically, I said, sure I do. So I get on the horse and I get, through the little town. There's a population of about 300 people, if not 301. And the horse is spooked. And within minutes, I am now going 40 miles per hour on the Trans-Canada Highway, out of control. The horse is frothing. It is absolutely spooked. I don't have a clue. It was a part quarter horse, part Appaloosa, really fast. And we're just out of a scene from a movie. I am now looking at my potential death because I did not know if I would make it on this horse for any distance. And then coming towards us was a transport truck. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's going to throw me in front of this truck. He's going to stop. He could go sideways and lose control, or the truck could hit us. I had no idea what was going to happen. So I made the decision I would have to probably fall off the horse, jump off the horse, slide off the horse in order for me to save my life. But then I realized at the rate I was going in on a Trans-Canada Highway of cement, I'm not going to make it. So I had to make peace, and I actually made the decision that I would slide off the horse. And I totally believe that when I did that, I hit the pavement and died. I was completely gone out, and it was within a period of time that they found me on the side of the road. And then I actually remember coming to, and from that period of time forward, I had such an altered sense of awareness of life and experiences. So, not long after, my father passed away, my 25th birthday, and then a number of other incidents took place. And I always said to myself, do you really feel sorry for yourself? No, you don't have a choice. You must move forward. So in writing the book, I created a character, and I call him the Wisdom Auditor. And during some of my experiences, he shows up, and we have a teaching lesson. He's almost a Buddha form who comes and he says, what are you doing with your spectacular gift of life? And walks me through a series of exercises that are really transformational. So the gist of the book is that when you read it, I don't write it in first person. So you're going to have a reflection of what is transpiring inside of your life. And maybe I will hit an emotion inside of you that you haven't dealt with or that you'd like to deal with. And you may say, oh my gosh, just the way I heard her say that, I can deal with what I have to deal with. And so my hope is that the book will be inspirational for people who have had difficult times in their life, who really do need encouragement. And I'm sure that the one really big message that I want the audience to know is that change is possible. And I want them to know that there is hope for their change. And if they buy the book, they may save themselves from a lot of frustration and disappointment, because I think you always want to live the life you could have had, but you can start doing it now. And really, those are my gifts to the audience. That's how I want them to feel the interpretation of the material.
That's a very inspiring story. I mean, you think about it. I mean, this is something that we go through every single day. I mean, with challenges and everything. I mean, I can relate to you in so many ways. Now, I've never had a near-death experience, but I mean, I guess about 2 years ago, I actually, I went through a very rough time myself. I mean, I'm just sharing a story, and stress. I mean, stress was on me like it was. I've never experienced anything like that before. It actually, I had gotten really sick. I actually lost my job over it, and one day I had an epiphany, I guess you would say, and I started doing this, the podcast thing. Now it's evolved into almost, I think, close to 25,000 subscribers a week that tune in and listen, and I'm very thankful for that. And it's so ironic. I don't know. I wouldn't say ironic. Maybe it's so weird how we're now crossing paths, and how just by networking with you, and seeing inspirational stuff that you share on Facebook, and coming across notes and stuff about you over the internet, and just kind of reading how my life has changed within the past couple of weeks. So I can just imagine how the book, can really help as well. And I have yet to, I stay very busy, but I've yet to sit down. I want to sit down. I want to really read the book and get into it, and really start, I guess, rewiring the system, so to speak.
Russell, you shared that within the past few weeks and a couple of years that you've had difficulties. I think that we live in a world right now where our sense of awareness of what's going on, mostly I think because of technology, as yes, I do post on Facebook, and I try to post happy things, inspirational things, but bottom line is, and you mentioned how our paths cross. Well, I think that I've studied the foundation for the preservation of the Mahayana tradition, which is a Buddhist organization. I have been involved in many spiritual roads and taken the time to, I went to the University of Toronto and studied transformational mindfulness and applied mindfulness. And at the end of the day, I still believe that it's our karma. And karma is it's the law of the universe, and it means action. So the sum of my intentional and deliberate consciousness is what prescribes my thoughts and determines my actions. So I think that for people, if they're having positive thoughts, they're going to initiate and have positive outcomes, right?
Right.
And negative thoughts they're going to create the angst, and that angst is what you called stress. And it's if you can sit for a complete moment and just jump in between the moments and say, this is the wisdom, I've just learned this. Like we get our feet into a problem and then we dig deeper. Sometimes we just dig a hole that we can't get out of, rather than snip it and say, okay, I may have lost in this situation. Here's the technique. Here's the tools that I need now to observe what's happened in my life so I can master and live in a state of, more joyfulness and purpose. And I think people really do believe that there is a better place for them, and they just need help to find it. But making a choice in your life every single day is what's going to bring you, a better outcome. Just being mindful, being fully present in the moment without judgment, and accepting what's in front of you and dealing with it. If you can do that, we would change the world.
This is something else you probably deal with every day. I mean, especially with an entrepreneur mindset. I wake up at my job. I go to bed at my job. I mean, everything is here at the house, studio,
right,
and everything else. And sometimes it's hard to, and I hate, please excuse me, I don't want it to turn into a therapy session for myself, but, sometimes it's hard to get motivated and get going, and then sometimes you get, I guess, maybe too motivated and you don't know when to cut it off. But as far as motivation, what is your, I guess, can you give us a little insight on your morning ritual? How do you get motivated in the morning time to I guess, take on the day?
I've had life-threatening situations, obviously, just more than what I've shared there, and I do share some in the book. And I'm grateful. I wake up every single day and I just say, I am grateful. Whatever is in front of me today is what I have created for myself. Another person whose work is important is the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he's, really asking people to study their minds and evolve their minds. His newest book is called You Are the Placebo. And neuroplasticity plays a big part. So I always believe that I can rewire my thinking. And when I'm up in the morning, my motivation has been twofold. I've seen poverty. I know there's poverty of the soul. There's poverty within people's hearts. There's poverty, never mind food and clothes and not having enough money. People are poverty-stricken inside of their own beings. And sometimes you can look at a person and just by smiling at them, or them not expecting you to say something, will put a smile on their face. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to have done that. And it doesn't take anything to do it. And, my other inspiration is that I've been a person who likes to gift, and my time is really precious. But I think as a contributor to the world, we can add a feeling of, more confidence in ourselves, and the expressing my wisdom comes through that. And when I'm looking at what have I involved my life in, back in 2006, I had an opportunity to meet someone who was building a small library in Cambodia, in Angkor Wat. And without being there, but just seeing pictures and having a dialogue, I strongly felt that I could do something in a place that, yes, I volunteer here in my community, but I could do something different And I challenged myself out of trust and my own, listening to my own knee-jerk responses. And I said, there's cultural sustainability that's needed in the world. It's needed in my own community, and I try and support that. But this particular library was important. And when I completed, the work with these people, I actually went to Cambodia the following year. And in 2007, I saw they were living in the jungle. They were living in poverty. They were living without washrooms, showers, and these monks were teaching these small orphans, and their parents had died of AIDS or they had been amputated, after the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot destroyed the country. They are now creating sustainability and a future for themselves. So I took on that project, and since 2007, we have rebuilt, and we now have school for the monks. We have a school for the children. So when I wake up in the morning, my motivation is that just to have an email from them, just to hear how happy they are, that they have, their lives have been changed. And the amount of money that's required is so nominal, and it's not even that's the important part. They feel they're feeling respected and loved. And so I have that back. So my gratefulness in the morning is not just here in my family, in my community with my friends, but it's around the world. And there's a place for everybody to do something. I'm not saying everybody should jump out and find a country and go do whatever I did. That was my karma. But if you know there's something that you can do, that can instill a state of, purpose and give you the motivation to do something more for yourself, more for your life. Volunteer at a senior's home. Go there 1 hour a week. You will walk out a saint. You will feel like you have just changed the world. You've changed a lot of people's lives. So I highly recommend people do things out of the ordinary, or, instead of walking around thinking, I don't have anything to do, oh my goodness, there's so many people that need your help. So find an hour and dedicate your hour even to reading a book to a child, or an adult. It's so important. So there's lots of things that people can do.
Yes, indeed. And I agree 110% with all of that. I got a lot of respect for you for everything that you do. I really do. I mean, just reading about you and reading about everything that you've done and all that you're involved in. You are a woman of many hats, so to speak. Where do you find time? I mean, what do you do for fun? Or is this your fun? I mean, where do you find time to kind of chill out, I guess?
That's a great question. I think that, I have some grandchildren, so that makes life a really beautiful place to be. And in my earlier years, I was obsessed with golf. I mean, I was a major golfer girl. I had a hole-in-one, and I think that for any golfer in any career, and I just had a hobby career, that to me was, a place to really hang my hat. So, and again, it's music, it's writing. I have a very fulfilled life, and I like teaching. I'm doing a lot of coaching, writing my program, Mastering Life's Transitions, which will include my 5 radical degrees and a few other things. So there's a lot ahead, and it's a matter of, I will say that people have to be dedicated to their process. You're very dedicated to what you do, Russell. I mean, you have your home office, you're there, as you said, you eat, sleep, drink, and wake up in your environment. And if that satiates and can complete you, that's fantastic. So people probably find alternatives, but if they can find the contentment in what they actually do day by day, I know there's a lot of people that hate their jobs and wish they could change them, and for all kinds of reasons they can't. So it's a mindset of saying, what can I also add to my day? And I will actually say this is really important, and that's either find time to meditate, find time to become one with your body and start to, transform and enhance some of the positive qualities that you have so that you see yourself and feel yourself in a better place. And those are small things, but, that again is my,
yes,
my modus operandi. Yeah.
Now, you talked about the mastermind, and I know we're jumping around a little bit, but the mastermind group, that's something that you're ahead of that's out in California, correct?
I'm a member of the mastermind, and it is Craig Doswalt's group, the Rockstar Mastermind, and we have about I think there's over 135 or 40 people that are members, and we attend the mastermind event. We basically brainstorm for one another. We bring our product, our business, our concern, our branding, whatever it is that we need assistance with, and basically we support one another by having sessions where we can, help evaluate, or we add our wisdoms or our business contacts to one another. So it has actually been a phenomenal experience for me. I've gained so much out of this program and being part of this group, and they are phenomenally amazing human beings. They're also humanitarian. They all have a fabulous past. They have a lot of integrity. One of the perks, of course, has been that we've been able to meet some of the musicians that Craig was involved with, and also one person who actually wrote the foreword for my book, whose name is Glenn Morshower, in the TV series 24. He's Agent Aaron Pierce, and he is a man who's flawlessly dedicated to humanity, to serving humanity, and raising the consciousness of people so that they become better human beings, better world citizens, and really take their life as precious. So he and I had a lot in common, and after he read my book, he agreed to write the foreword, and that was just, such a privilege. So, yeah, I'm very grateful.
Yes, indeed. And real quick before we go, and because I know you got to get back to your busy day, and we are, we're going to play the song by Apollo Creed, and I'm going to let you introduce that in a few minutes. But any inspiring words for any authors or entrepreneurs or artists that maybe want to follow in your footsteps?
I think perhaps have compassion for yourself and maintain as solid a critical path for yourself. Don't worry about other people. And if you're going to go into business and you feel as if you've got the right product, my words of wisdom would be then make sure you've got a 12-month, a 24-month plan, so that you know where you're going to stand financially. Do your marketing, do your homework, and don't rush. I think that's another thing that people really like to do. They just get so excited about what they're going to do, and then they fall flat because they don't have enough, business sense. They may have street smarts, which can always help, but this is a world where you really do need to discover what is out there that can help you. And the other thing is, I strongly suggest people ask other people for help. Join a mastermind, join an organization that can uplift your world and influence, the sphere of your product. That's probably my best suggestion.
All right. We're going to play the Happy Accident at the end of this interview. We're going to go out with it. So, Miss Patricia, if you would, could you give a little introduction to the song Happy Accident by Apollo's Crown?
Happy Accident is one of their most amazing songs, and I think that when they went into Nashville and they started writing, a lot of beautiful synchronicities began to happen for them, and they were being they chose to sit out in a park area and sing a song. They were just collaborating, and ironically there was a TV person who was interviewing down the road, and he heard them singing, and he actually followed them and then asked them if they would sing on the news, and they actually were able to perform on TV this particular song, ironically. And then when I was sharing with them about my book, Karmic Alibi, to surprise me, they included a line in the song by using the words Karmic Alibi. So the song has become a very special song for me. It is called Happy Accident, and once the world gets to know how important their work is, it is really revolutionizing vibration and consciousness and sound. So Happy Accident is a very, it's an amazing song, and I hope everybody will love it. And Russell, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so appreciative, and I wish you all the very best for holiday season, and have an amazing time, and I look forward to us speaking again, hopefully.
We will definitely be speaking again, hopefully in March. I hope you can make it. We've already got our tickets booked.
I'm on my way there. Heaven sent what was meant to appear to me. It's more than lonely. Another happy accident. I saw my future crystallize. I came through karmic alibis with all the numbers on my side. They've been there all the time, I swear. I'm on my way there. Heaven sent what was meant to appear to me. It's more than lonely. Another happy accident. Ever since angels' wings landed over me, it's more than lonely. Another happy accident. Oh, yeah. Heaven sent what was meant to appear to me. It's more than lonely. Another happy accident. Oh, ever since angels' wings landed over me, it's more than lonely. Another happy accident. It's more than lonely. Another happy accident.
That was a great interview. I really enjoyed talking to Miss Patricia, and I want to send a shout out to Miss Patricia for taking time to talk with me on the Radio Random Network, the band Apollo's Crown for allowing us to use their song A Happy Accident, and all of the listeners for hitting the download button. By the way, if you want to support, it's very easy. You can go to rrnonline.com and hit support the network button on the home page, and there's many ways you can support. One way is to rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can subscribe. You can get it delivered straight to your inbox by signing up for the RRN Online newsletter. And you can also, while you're there at Radio Random Network or RRN Online, you can connect with us on social media. Like I said, sign up for the network. Visit some of the sponsors. Bookmark them. Whenever you shop with Amazon or Audible or DraftKings or one of the many sponsors of the Radio Random Network, it kicks back a little to us for advertising them and for you to shopping with them. It's real easy. Bookmark them. Like I said, go to RRN Online. Use the Amazon banner. Use the Audible trial banner to download a free book. Do all kind of good stuff, and it helps us, and it's no charge to you guys. You know, they pay us for you shopping with them by going through our links. Don't forget, January 7th, I return with In the Now on the Radio Random Network with super musician Miss Nick West. And Friday, Sounds of Louisiana returns with myself and Mudtooth. We'll be featuring Louisiana band The Void. That's it for me until next week. Thanks for listening, and crank it up.